Hello, audacious woman. I'm super excited about today's topic. Why I don't think communication is the key. Have you ever felt that you were communicating, but your communication was not getting the results that you thought it should have? Have you ever thought to yourself, why aren't my words landing and having that impact? Do they even hear me? The problem is we've been told all of our life that communication is the key. Communication is the key. So we run around talking, making little to no impact, and only complicating things for ourselves, for our project teams, for our peers, and for our corporation as a whole. Statistics show that due to inadequate communication amongst employees at various companies, companies are losing $62 billion per year. I'm sorry, that's $62 million, not billion, thank goodness. So why is this important to you? Because if companies are losing $62 million a year, they're going to be looking for ways to improve that through their employee communication. And the ones that jump on board and start learning how to communicate effectively and start getting the results are the ones they're going to be keeping around, right? So they'll be releasing those that refuse to work on their communication skills, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is what's important to a corporation, right? So what is this really about? I don't want you to be in a situation to where you're one of those people who may be asked to leave because of poor communication skills, right? So I am here to help you. And I want you to know that communication is not the key. Now, I'll tell you what the real key is. The real key is effective communication. Type that in the chat. The key is effective communication. Effective communication is that type of communication where you're able to communicate bidirectionally. And what I mean by that is you're able to communicate up to your superiors, you're able to communicate down to your team members, and you're able to communicate sideways to your peers. This way your communication is tailored to the people you're talking to, and it has a much greater impact. So I'm going to tell you 3 quick ways to effectively communicate. My name is Karen Quick, and I am the founder of the Quick 6, best-selling author of Cubenomics. And in my Quick 6 program, I teach a concept I call Cubenomics. It's actually number 1 of the Quick 6. And in Cubenomics has been changing women's careers. It's been helping them to excel in areas that they once struggled, and that was a barrier for them that kept them stuck. And if you get my book Cubenomics, on page 50, I talk about the value of effectively communicating and not just communicating. The approach that I teach in this book is helping so many women because it's helping them to own their communication, and they own how that communication is being conveyed upward, downward, and side to side. If you don't improve your communication, what will happen is it will start to cost you your trust within the organization, your credibility within the organization. It will also lead to you being unable to communicate your value. And we definitely don't want that, because when you cannot communicate your value, it could ultimately cost you your job. Right? And I know I'm here to talk to this because in my career, there was a time where I almost lost my job because I did not effectively communicate in a manner of which I should have. And so I was documenting, and I was having huge success on my projects, on my team, and I was documenting everything because I had learned that from a prior mentor. And so I was documenting. But all of that information was the best kept secret, right? I was withholding that information. Are you like me? Are you withholding information? Go ahead and raise your hand and admit it if that's you, or am I out here by myself? So I was not sharing in my one-on-ones with my manager. I was not sharing doing skip level management meetings with my upper management. I was not sharing with my peers. I was just documenting. I wasn't putting it in my self-appraisal, which is very important. I was taking the approach that most people do when it comes to self-appraisal. Copy, paste. So you copy what the goal was at the end of the year, and then you paste it over in the results, right? I know you have. You done that? Raise your hand. I'm guilty. So I laugh about that now, but looking back on it, it wasn't so funny at the time because, as I stated, this almost cost me my job. I was placed on a performance improvement plan, which we call it PIP. And everybody know that is a career killer, right? My director was challenging my value at that time. And it was during this process of me trying to get this PIP dropped where I had to learn how to effectively communicate. So I had gotten with one of my mentors, and I discussed this issue with her. And so she started to teach me how to take the information I had gathered and position it in such a way that I could communicate it in a clear, concise manner as well as succinct to my upper management. At the time, I had escalated this PIP all the way up to the VP of HR. And so I was able to go in and take my information and convey it in such a manner that it was clear and concise to the point where the VP of HR dropped the PIP. Yes, that is the power of effective communication. Because I had taken the time to ensure that the information was communicated correctly to the right people in the right manner, the VP of HR did drop the PIP. So now it is my mission, and I am super passionate about helping other women like you do the same. So I'm going to share with you, so get your pen and paper out, 3 quick ways that you can start effectively communicating yourself in your current situation. So get your pen and paper so that I can help you to strengthen your communication skills, and you will never be put into the situation that I was in where I was fighting for my career. So quick tip number 1 is be clear and concise in your communication. Write that down. Be clear and concise. Cut the fluff. What I learned was get to the facts, Karen. Talk about your results, right? So, for example, in your self-appraisal, you may write something like, I developed and implemented a system that would allow 300,000 patients to see their factor 8 levels in real time. So that is very clear, it's very concise, it speaks to the results, the 300,000 patients that you was able to get. Quick tip number 2, ensure your words align with your actions. So be authentic in your communication. Don't communicate you're going to do something and don't do it. Always deliver on your promises. And things happen. So if something comes up and something happens, what you should do is make sure you communicate, right? It's about effective communication. Following up, following through, and letting that person know, I promise to get you this at this time. The date's gonna move out or the date may move in, but communicate that. Do not ruin your credibility because you failed to do this step. Quick tip number 3, use simple words. I can't say that enough. Use simple words. We want to sound educated. We want to let all of our degrees light shine in. The truth is, everybody is not on the same page when it comes to vocabulary. Okay? There's different variants of vocabulary out there, even if you have a degree. So make sure that your message is landing by using words that can be easily understand. For example, paradoxical. Right? That sounds all educated. It sounds really intelligent, but let me tell you, most people don't even know how to spell it, let alone say it. You ask someone to spell paradoxical, and they'll be like P-A-R-A doxical. Exactly. So a synonym for paradoxical, I can barely say it. A synonym for paradoxical is impossible. So if you conveyed the word impossible, that would be much more clear to your audience. So in closing, communicating well will help you accomplish many things in your goals. It will also impress your colleagues and your superiors, and it will improve tremendously your career. Once you hone in on the skill and you master it, you will feel more confident, your leadership skills will improve, and you will soon get that job, promotion, or payment that you know you deserve. So share this video out. Sharing is caring. And if you want a copy of Cubenomics, you can click on the link at the top of this video. And remember, I am your sister, always wanting you to be audacious and willing to excel.